So we're here for a teaching on deity practices in the Buddhist tradition. And so the practices of visualizing a deity are only in the esoteric or tantric tradition within the Buddhist tradition. And this is also good to know that there is a whole school and the other traditions, also many other traditions, do not visualize any other deity. Maybe the Buddha, they might visualize the Buddha, the founder of the path, Shakyamuni Buddha, who, of course, became enlightened. So 5th century BC, but 6th century BC, around 580 BC, they think. So this esoteric or tantric tradition, however, or Vajrayana, it is often called the Tibetan Vajrayana tradition, does use a deity visualizing a lot. And it is worthwhile to perhaps ask why and what really is important to remember about doing that practice. And so, of course, the benefits of that practice is to perhaps make sure more of a grounding in the mind stream of the states of higher jhana or higher meditations, still being able to have the clarity and the actual understanding there is phenomena, and that's very definitely there, as well as knowing that the emptiness of that object is also there. And so, of course, clarity is seemingly the opposite viewpoint of emptiness. They're both really opposites to each other. They're completely contradictory in some manner. So clarity is that the object is definite, is extremely clear and vivid to your mind. There's no doubt, is that a cold wind or is it a hot wind? You don't have to question if it's hot or cold, if something such as a very hot wind or a very cold, bitterly cold wind is touching your skin. You don't question it, So this knowledge, this definite knowledge and labeling and ability to say there is this object and it is there, whether it is from any of the 5 doorways of the body or of the mind, any memory, any reflection, any planning, it is still definitely, you can say, oh, I'm remembering, I'm planning, and that is happening, and it is clear. It is not a confused thing, of course. So we can only operate with clarity, generally speaking. And yet emptiness, seemingly the opposite viewpoint about the same objects as what you are detecting through all of your doorways. So this emptiness and clarity are somehow to be held as one complete view, the two opposite viewpoints held together, and completely giving you that idea that there is conventional reality, because the clarity indicates conventional reality, and there is emptiness of any self, emptiness of anything of a tangible sort of that it is independently arising, that it can really be anything your mind needs to hold on to. So of course, as we do the practices, the teachings say that all of the phenomena are real in a conventional sense, but they are not needing to be held on to because they are empty of any self, empty of anything that needs to be causing you to hold on to it, really. And of course, this goes to the whole in-depth philosophy of our body and mind is just that. It is phenomena. Our body and mind are also phenomena, which are concrete things, but are not having a self, not having a self there at all. And so, to do deity yoga, you need to be practicing in the Tantric tradition. And that tradition, the Vajrayana tradition, requires you to really sort of look towards connecting with a teacher in a very sort of guru-disciple manner. So this is, of course, the reasons why the deity yoga is of any benefit, because to visualize a deity and to use that, to get that clarity and emptiness held in the mind more properly, is only going to be effective if you have sort of prior conditions in place. And one is that you feel there is this connection, a connection with a teacher or a guru that is so close and is so sort of a real bond, as though in a past life they were your teacher also, and you were practicing under them in a past life. It's like this incredible realization that that must have been what happened, and that you are very fortunate, you feel very fortunate to have found them again in this life, whatever lifetime ago it was. It might have been 5 lifetimes ago, you don't know necessarily. But a guru-disciple relationship is that type of a recognition that this person was a teacher in your past life, and so it is this real trust for that teacher, and yet another prior condition that must be there is that the disciple, having found that teacher, will still test that teacher. They must test that teacher. They must spend a lot of time near them and really hearing the teachings from them and learning how they teach and learning how they work as a teacher, and really feel that they can, in this lifetime, even if that connection was really just like a bolt of lightning maybe through your whole system, it is still to be tested. You must still test it, and this is very clearly written about in the Tantra scriptures, so that it is a real connection, a guru-disciple connection, or as though they must have been your teacher. That guru in a past life was your teacher. And yet you also still are required, you are still really put upon as a disciple, not to just jump in, but to test that teacher. Really, until you feel you could jump in, and then you must jump in. But in addition to you finding that teacher you feel is a teacher from past life, and you have tested them, you need to have quite a good grounding in the Buddhist philosophy yourself to really get that testing done properly, and that you know about the Buddhist tradition yourself. The Tantric tradition is very colorful, very, very much a tradition of a lot of artifacts and a lot of extra things, and not only the deities, but the mantras and the mala beads and all of the tankas, and incredible amount of objects and color. And because of that, to test your teacher in that environment, and the initiations are very powerful, to test that teacher, you really would want to have that foundation yourself of what the Buddhist tradition is about. And hopefully you have done a lot of samatha or calm abiding and understood philosophy of insight meditation and applied it to your calm abiding, so that you yourself have really already developed quite a bit on the path. You understand the path. You have not only learned the teachings, but you have practiced quite a lot, because you need to feel quite confident. You have a way to test your teacher, that you do have the grounding, you do have that you already know the path very well, and you can then listen to your teacher in that very incredibly sort of high voltage tantric environment of all the color and all of the rituals. For it is a shamanistic tradition, of course. It is from a shamanistic background, so it's very esoteric and very colorful and very rich, and also quite magical. Any shaman is a magician, really. They go into the world of magic, and whatever you need to understand about the tantric tradition and that guru being trusted completely by you, you must understand that even with all that color and that magic, there is nothing but the Buddhist tradition there. You really must test it. So this understanding yourself what the Buddhist philosophy is, that this teacher is doing that Buddhist path completely, and you can then see if you can trust them completely, and then you jump over the cliff. You have to really run and just jump over that cliff, and you have no idea of what is there. And as odd and mystical as it is, it can only be a pathway to a deeper understanding of such attributes of clarity and emptiness being held in your mind very properly and in a very grounded way. It can only help you take those concepts deeper and those realizations more deeply if you have all of those conditions met, and the initiations then and the deity practices and the visualizing of the deity can just aid you. It is quite mystical how it does it, but it aids you to look at those deities in a very sort of a way as though they're like something very real and concrete, and yet not really there also. So you're creating the deity and you're dissolving the deity, and you're creating those steps in the practices. You're creating even the guru and the lineage, and you're dissolving, and you're creating the deity and you dissolve. And this also aids you in this deepening, but it's only really if you have got those conditions met. And as you have a clear visual object such as a bubble that has been blown with the detergent through the ring, and you've got this clear, vivid bubble. You know that bubble's there. You know it's there. And you could never listen to a viewpoint from yourself or another that it is not there, that it's you just say, no, it's not, I don't see it. You'd say it is there. If you're very gentle, you might even be able to feel the surface of that bubble. But at the same time, you know the bubble, the quality of a bubble, the actual characteristic of a bubble is it will not be there for long. It will definitely go within, minutes, probably seconds. And that complete sort of dissolution, that complete sort of dissolving into nothing again, is that way of looking at the deity is really that type of a visualizing, and that helps really cement in your mind something about those concepts which appear quite contradictory, of clarity and emptiness. And yet, in the path, you must never nullify phenomena. You must never say there is no conceptual reality, for there is. And a bubble is a bubble, even if it is just a bubble, it is still there. And you must remember it is there. And yet, at the same time, you must remember it can go, and it will go, and it does go. And if you can go deeper into really staying grounded as you go into those concepts, you can start to perhaps go more into the whole aspect of no self, with all phenomena within your body, within your mind, and all phenomena coming in through your sense doorways are only, of course, present in your mind once they come in through those sense doorways, and your consciousness can receive it, and you have the labeling, you have mental formations from it, you have dialogue, you have complete awareness that this phenomena is there. And yet it is like a bubble. All phenomena are like a bubble. All of the things arising in your mind, like a bubble. And this gives you, of course, even though they are evident and clear and true as a concrete reality, they are also not anything you need to hold on to. And they will go of their own accord too. If you let it, it will go. If you find it's not helpful to keep thinking about some past memory, or keep planning. If you need to plan, you can plan, and you might need to, and you might keep your mind focused that way. But if you find your mind is caught in some object in a way that's not helpful, and you, of course, as developing wisdom, can see if it is really not helpful, and you might be starting to grab onto that object and trying to keep it there, or push an object away. And then you can say, just a minute, this is really just a bubble. I can make that a bubble, and I can move from that object. I can move away. I am not bound to it, and it is not bound to me. And in reality, all objects are passing away very quickly, as we're trying in our concentration meditation, and with our using our insight into the true reality of all phenomena. We are trying to go deeper into that arising and passing away, and arising due to many causes and conditions, passing away due to many causes and conditions. And so fast the phenomena are moving through through our doorways, really, in and out, going in through the eye doorway, out. Even if we want to hold on to it, we may do so through our analyzing, or our attention to it, for whatever reason. But we don't have to. We can let it burst as the bubble bursts, and move away from it. And so this is never to nullify that phenomena are there, is the clarity, and never to forget they are just mere bubbles, and always coming and going is the emptiness. And that this esoteric tradition has a few tools to assist, but those prior conditions must be there. And indeed, you could perhaps get initiations, but if you have not got those deep connections, you've tested the teacher, and also you've done a lot, perhaps, of developing on the path, so you can test the teacher, so you can be sure you are testing the teacher properly. And then you must jump. You must completely jump, not half jump, not think about jumping, not, I'll jump if it seems like it's easy for me, and that's it. It's a complete giving over. It's a very different path to the exoteric, or what we could call the Theravada tradition, as it involves this quite mystical, and it is only there as anything helpful if you have that grounding with your teacher and properly tested. And so These are some of the reasons and some of the conditions in order to try and see if it is right for you to go into deity practice. Okay.